Now that you're into storyboarding, I want to review the hawk again because it's going to be really important that in the storyboard, the hawk is on model. So, we've been going through that with several characters last semester, and we looked at the hawk, as well as replicating Stretch and other characters. So, want to make sure that you're going through these designs and looking at the proportions and even the function of the character, seeing how he's going to work, and replicating that in your storyboard. So again, in your storyboard, I'm hoping you're going to be using the 3/4 front view with or without the wings. And I've got a couple different poses with the fists on the hips or the hands down by the side, or the 3/4 back view, which we have here. And this is with the wings folded up. That's what they would look like. So the wings are only unfolded when he's going to fly. And if he's not flying in your storyboard, then you don't need the wings, except in the folded view that you would see only from the 3/4 back. So I want to keep it to these two views as much as possible. Really avoid the side view that we have here and the straight front view here. They're here just for your knowledge and to be able to see what he looks like and figure out his construction and design. But for the most part, these are the views that I'd like you to use. So be carefully looking and checking out, again, the proportions. And then the details, and making sure these as accurate as possible when you're drawing in the storyboard. Because when those images become an animatic, he has to be recognizable and he has to be on model as much as possible. Okay, so I will be putting this rotation up as a JPEG image so you can download and be practicing that character and have him for reference. I know we had him last semester, but just in case you've lost the link to that, I've got it here again. Here's the rough for my character for the PSA. If you remember last semester, I went over thumbnails and even the final storyboard from my production that I was using. This character that I was going to say post office, no, but he's a license bureau worker. But what I do have here is that 3/4 front, 3/4 back. So please, when you're getting ready, now that you're doing your storyboard, work up your character that 3/4 back view using the same ideas I was showing before of rotating that character. And again, try and just use the 3/4 front, 3/4 back. You may want to do, and we'll get into a full rotation with side and front, but for the storyboard, I'm hoping you're going to keep to these two views, because again, in production, when we go to start producing the content of your film, the more views you have, a lot more construction and trying to figure out how you're going to hinge and create the movement on the character. So simple's better, and do that simple very, very well. So be looking at those two views and be working out that 3/4 back view. We'll look at them closer when we come back from reading week, and we'll have seen what views you are using and really start cleaning up and looking at color. So the next thing that's going to be important at this stage is that you have your 3/4 front, 3/4 back of your character is now the size relationship with the hawk. And that's important to figure that out now so that you can be consistent in your storyboard with that size relationship between those two characters. Okay, so with mine, again, I made my character quite in contrast to the hawk, and exaggerating proportions and really finding some simple shapes. So you can see he's quite a bit smaller than the hawk character, and quite different in shape and proportions. So contrast is really good. So hopefully you can be working out the same at this point. We will be doing this when we come back from reading week and cleaning these up again based on your storyboard, but you really should rough these up for the storyboard. But we will put these together, clean them up, and color these for the production, and then get into constructing your character, as well as going to be constructing the hawk. One of the more difficult parts of drawing your character and the Hawk character is the hands. So here I'm going to have a bit of a rundown on that structure of hands and a breakdown. So here's a simplified hand structure. So this is the palm side. So you can see how a finger breaks down into 3 sections, and that we have the palm, which is kind of made up of an upper pad, outer pad, and a major thumb pad here. And then the thumb itself is kind of 2 sections. So we have the fingerprint part and this joining part. So we can see that interesting silhouette there. So it's that structure. Again, it's going to be even simplified more than this. This is getting a little bit more realistic than necessary. But you should be drawing from these references. And I will have JPEGs up of these so that you can be drawing from and get more accustomed to the structure of a hand. The nice thing about the hand is you have a couple of them, and you can be using those as reference too. But the idea is to simplify. So what I have here, here's the back of the hand on this, in this case. So again, you can see the difference. We don't have those lines of where the folds of the pads and the palm that we have the back of the hand. This is where we can see knuckles, and we can see, you know, some of the tendons that connect those and make them work. That we have fingernails, and we do have the joints here, of which look quite different from this side than the other. And the same with the thumb, that it does have a joint here, and it does have another joint in here in this pad, which is kind of hidden, but gives us a good idea of how it works. In these images shows a good structure where we're using that square or dimensional rectangle, as well as more cylindrical shapes for the fingers. Now, again, these could be cartoon more. Again, with my characters, and even the Hawk only has 3 fingers, where these have the 5 fingers, the thumb and the 4 fingers here. But just looking at the different perspective, this can help out a great deal in figuring out the hand and how it works. In this image, kind of blocking in all of the fingers in one lump helps simplify and work out how those joints work. So we can see how these joints are folding in. Also see how the thumb folds in. So the different positions of where this pivot in here in the palm of the hand, which you really don't see a hard joint, but you can see where that line in the palm that we've been drawing, why it's there. It gives that dimension of that thumb folding in. Next step is that fist over here. We can see all those fingers now folding over, and that thumb coming over top. And again, how that palm connects in with the wrist. So all nicely structured, all dimensional. So just practicing the hand and understanding it. Again, we can simplify it a lot more than this, but hopefully these explanations will help you draw a hand better, even in a very simple cartoon view, like with the Hawk and your character. But this shows a lot of functionality. Here it's showing how that thumb comes up and folds over into the palm. And again, that simple blocking of the fingers here before separating them out and finding that detail. So again, blocking is always better, just like the car that we had just looked at. Block it in, play with the proportions, and then get into detail. And again, different views with the back of the hand, palm of the hand. Look at that different perspective and how we're blocking in with that block. It's amazing. Just about anything we can draw from that block and then carve into it to get the curvature and such. Because the hand is very organic, but we can find the structure by using those mechanical sort of blocks and cylinders to sort it out. So again, this is just showing multiple views of the thumb and how flexible that is in the hand, and how these joints curl up with the rest of the fingers. Here's a great page of designs here. Well, it's all the same design, but different positions and such for this character. If you've seen the movie Iron Giant, this is the hand model sheet for Hogarth, the main character, the 12-year-old. I think he's about that age in the film. But you can look at the nice, beautiful line work here, and quite simplified, but all the different angles and shapes that this was done in, which is excellent. So again, holding an object, just, you know, how the hand and the fingers all move. Just super nice. So here, feature film, traditional animation. If you haven't seen Iron Giant, please, it's a must. It's probably one of the fabulous stories, and great character design and animation. The whole story is excellent. So please make an effort to see that one. But you can see the detail they put into looking at the hand. So what I'd like you to do is practice hands and apply them to the hawk, particularly for your storyboard. But thinking of the limitations of how we're converting these into our 2D animation, and how we're going to rig them in a limited form. But it's good to have good practice understanding how the hand works. So here we have it. So for storyboarding, our design assignment is to make sure we understand your character 3/4 front, 3/4 back. Same with the hawk character, and getting that size relationship, understanding it, and that it's reflected in your storyboard. And hopefully those hand designs and instructions there will help you when on your character of working out the hand. And you can see in mine it's 3 fingers, both on the hawk and this character. So if we can be kind of consistent with that from a design point of view, that would be excellent. Okay, so hopefully this helps out, and once you have storyboard, we'll review and really clean these up and do fuller rotations and digital color, and then get into the construction.